Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Above the Ring. I'm your host, Sam the SLB. Alongside me today, as always, the man behind the Twitter, the other half of this operation. It is Scott. Hey, buddy, how we doing this morning?
We're doing well. We had one eventful week of wrestling and some landscape changing contract endings. So, yeah.
We have a lot to talk about. It was a crazy weekend. Go back and definitely check out the Raw Review SmackDown Study pre-show and post-show for SummerSlam and TakeOver. Also, this past weekend, this current weekend, we are recording prior to the NWA Double Marquee of Empower in 73. We will definitely be talking about that next week. I definitely want to have some conversations about what may have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I sound like a jackass on Monday morning, and it's like, well, nothing actually happened at that pay-per-view. So we got a handful of things to talk about. Obviously, we said NWA Empower 73rd has happened. We will cover that later. All Out. We're right around the corner for All Out. There's a lot to talk about on this card. This card might be, without going into detail, without this episode of Dynamite and Rampage, maybe one of the best build-ups for a pay-per-view AEW has done.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I believe there's 9 matches on the card. So that's pretty hefty for an AEW.
10, including the
10 now. Oh, that's right, because they added, as of Rampage, they added Miro versus Eddie Kingston for the TNT title. So
things I didn't know I needed, Scott.
Right? Oh man, I'm excited for that.
We're looking forward to that. We will be doing a pre-show. We're going to try to get our buddies over from Back to the Ring on. Have a little bit of fun. That same weekend, actually, we didn't even get to mention it. Glory by Honor, Ring of Honor's 2-night pay-per-view happened on the 20th and the 21st. Interesting card. It looks like there was a couple of different title matches. I don't know. I really want to dig into Ring of Honor since they've definitely changed their lineup with the lack of the Elite.
Right.
And like everybody else that they took over to AEW. So
yeah.
Definitely need to get my hands on this so I can watch this. There was something else I was gonna bring up. Oh yeah. So obviously there was a match change. Hiroshi Tanahashi will not be wrestling Jon Moxley at All Out as was originally scheduled.
Yep.
Satoshi Kojima is. But also on top of talking about changes, there might be something else big that's happening at All Out. A certain somebody's debut sounds like it might have been moved to All Out. Bryan Danielson maybe showing up at the pay-per-view. The argument is because of all the COVID restrictions that New York has imposed, it might be a little more difficult. So they figure they do it in Chicago where at least they only have the mask mandate for that show.
Right. And plus, it's Chicago, so the place is going to go insane.
Yeah. Chicago is slowly becoming like the new wrestling capital.
Especially for AEW, obviously, especially since CM Punk is there now. Part of me, like, I want to dive into a little fantasy booking for just a second before we jump into the shows. So CM Punk and Darby Allin have a fantastic match. Winner, I'm going to go ahead and on the record and say it's going to be Punk because it's Chicago, because that'd be insane for them not to have Punk win. So Punk wins, and then a very familiar song happens. There are some yes chants that start. Man comes down the ring, gets in the ring, immediate knee to the face to Punk, leaves. Crowd goes absolute apeshit. Instant feud right after Darby.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Have a little moment there because this whole CM Punk Darby buildup has been like a brotherly kind of thing. Like, I want to make you better because I see your potential. And as much as Darby has been, he's an up and coming star. I mean, it'd be kind of weak, I think, to bring CM Punk back and have him lose the first time.
Correct.
But I think it's gonna be a banger. It's gonna be a banger of a match.
Yeah, and this is also a test for Punk to make sure he could still go, because it's been a long time since he's been in the ring. Yeah, he's been in the octagon, but that's a completely different animal.
Yeah.
So
how those turned out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I applaud him for trying. Honestly,
Yes.
like, it's more than I would ever do. There's no way for either thing. I would. I mean, when I was younger, I would have loved to have gotten to a wrestling ring, but into an octagon, yeah, no, nope, no, thank you.
Well, I think a couple other things we need to cover quickly. First and foremost, and it sounds like this has almost been confirmed. Sounds like Buddy Murphy, formerly Buddy Murphy, will be signing or has signed with Impact Wrestling.
That's a big get for them.
That's actually, it feels like the right spot for him to go.
It does, and obviously with the Forbidden Door being still open, that does lead for some leaks into AEW. And obviously, I want to see him and Malachi Black go at it one more time, because obviously with WWE, how they handcuff everybody, those two still put on some of the best matches that I've ever watched. And obviously, because Murphy was the one that gave back then Aleister Black the eye injury, that Malachi Black now continues to evolve that eye every single week. It's almost like we're leading to a climax, and it's going to be probably one of the best matches ever. And I don't say that lightly, but the way that this is just being built for years, and now that Malachi Black is completely like taking this on, the vignettes inside the prison from both sides, it's just like they're building this, and it's going to be amazing once it finally happens.
Yeah, no, it'll be good, especially Buddy Murphy being the underutilized talent that he was. He could have been a way bigger star with what he had. Another name that's supposedly signed with Impact, Braun Strowman. Have an article in front of me, and I'm trying to figure out. Supposedly he may have a new name. Can't really find Titan.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. I mean, it's very American Gladiator-ish, but that works, I guess.
Putting on a, I don't know, BDSM leather with a helmet on. I mean, that's what. That's
well, maybe I don't know. Maybe he'll be the new Juggernaut.
Or they're carrying cross. Did I say that out loud?
Oh. Yeah, that still bothers me. I talked about that at length on the Raw review. Go ahead and download it. Listen to my tirades. It's fun stuff sometimes. But with Braun, Impact's a little bit of an interesting place for him. I honestly expected him to go to AEW. It would be interesting to see how he fits in at the Impact landscape.
Okay.
Sam's got some ideas.
Let's point out the Haas's here, okay? First and foremost, you do have former WWE wrestler himself, W. Morrissey.
True.
I'm talking Haas per Haas.
Right.
Him and Madman Fulton.
True.
He and Shara.
True.
He and Steve Macklin.
True.
He and Luke Gallows.
True.
He and Joe Doring.
True.
There's a lot of, I think, just beastly opportunity. And granted, if you went to AEW, you could have him rap Dustin Rhodes, get him one-on-one with Paul White, Nick Camarado. You could do a lot of these. And I'm not talking about squad. I'm trying to be like
competitive matches.
Competitive, yeah. I'm thinking of, he's the type of guy who's going to give you, the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior, the Hulk Hogan Macho Man, the Haas matches.
Yeah.
Where you just have to punch somebody and the crowd loses their minds kind of deal.
Yeah.
So I think there are opportunities.
So Braun's technically going to the land of the Titans, from what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're picking up what I'm putting down.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, my friend. I'm curious, he's only been a WWE talent.
Yeah, I don't even know if he actually came from the Indies. I believe he was a homegrown talent when he walked in the door.
Arnold Strongman. He's one strongman competition. Like not even
Well,
like
that makes sense.
10th, 1st, 7th, 1st. Okay, that's why.
Yep.
The Arnold Strongman class. Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger's. That's his. That's okay. That makes sense.
That does make a lot of sense, actually.
That's why he would be in the limelight. Okay, so I'm looking forward to see. Again, we will always remember when Braun Strowman threw Roman Reigns in a stretcher off a landing, and he went over in a minute. And I think he has the potential to still be a beast.
Absolutely. As long as you treat him as such, not as a joke, because that always pissed me off when it came to WWE, is that they have these big monsters and then a year later they're jokes. That's why I fear for Omos. I truly do.
I forgot one. Totally forgot one. Fantasy booking. You know, he was a monster himself, and the only person that can really wrestle a monster is a wrestling god.
Oh my god.
Braun taking on Moose.
So shit.
Give me it now.
Wow.
Right? Thinking about that. Like, just...
Wow, Sam. I was not expected to be rocked this morning.
Yeah, I already got chills down my spine thinking of it. However, one last bit of news that's not even news right now. Adam Cole is no longer signed with WWE. We have no idea where he's going. We have no idea if he's re-signing. He's taken all of his WWE links off of his Twitter account.
I know.
Everyone in the Elite is posting photos of him or when they used to fight ghosts.
Matt Hardy's put up stuff. Britt's put up stuff. It's just like...
What did I tell you? Even if this is a troll just to get everybody wondering,
yeah,
I love the hype in the unknown.
It's true. No, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I kind of went into this a little bit during my SmackDown study. I try not to do news because I want to save that for our shows, but I kind of had to dive into it yesterday. There was an opportunity where we had Dominic Mysterio taking on a mystery opponent. Everybody on Twitter lost their minds because they're like, oh, this is Adam Cole's spot. He's going to debut. It's going to blah, 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 and all going insane. Myself was included because I'm hoping. I as much as I think he'd be a wonderful fit in AEW, selfishly, I want him to stay in WWE only because of I think he'd be perfect on SmackDown and for what he's able to do with Up, Up, Down, Down, which is owned by WWE, even though Xavier Woods is the man behind it. The fact is that if he signs with anybody else, he disappears. And it sucks. Because if you watch Adam Cole on TV, the man's the biggest asshole on the face of this planet. But if you watch him on like his Twitch channel or Up, Up, Down, Down, the man is literally the nicest human being on the face of this planet. And I don't understand it. It's just a testament to how fantastic he is at his job. No matter what he does. And I'll be very, very sad if he leaves and is no longer able to show up on that channel.
I also think, especially with and we will talk about it in a minute once we get into NXT, with this rebranding, I don't think he will last too long because he's no longer a newer talent. He's been there for 4 years.
Correct.
You know, I don't know how long he and Johnny are going to be down there.
Yeah, it's definitely time for him to move on because he's literally done everything in NXT. If by some chance he does end up re-signing and showing up on either Raw or SmackDown, then he'll be the top drawer of whatever show he's on. No offense to Roman Reigns, but Adam Cole will quickly become number one when it comes to that. It's just it's not it's not a spoiler. It's not even a prediction. It's a guarantee.
I would love to see that. Would be a bet. Think about that. A battle of the egos. The tribal chief taking on the undisputed man himself.
Yeah. Oh man, the promos alone, just Adam Cole versus Paul Heyman in a promo. Just like, come on. But who knows? We don't know. We probably will never see that. He'll probably sign this like lifetime contract with AEW and live happily ever after, and we'll just have to enjoy him on Wednesdays and Fridays, and that's fine. I will do so. It's fine. But just selfishly, I like him in that other bit that he's able to do. Twitch, he will continue to do, which I do still watch from time to time. So it's not like that's totally gone, but I don't know. Those extra outlets are always fun to watch.
I would put, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but going back to the new generation, like we're talking like 95 WWE, WWF. Adam Cole, even on Raw, would feel like Shawn Michaels during that period.
Correct. Absolutely.
Or Bret Hart, where it's like, oh no, why are we watching Mabel versus Doink the Clown? But Shawn Michaels, or Bret Hart, or Owen Hart, or like, the people who still made it worthwhile.
Yeah, there are those stars that you tune in to watch, and everything else, unfortunately, is just filler.
Johnny Gargano's the same way.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Like, if they brought the whole way up to Raw or SmackDown, it would be must-watch television. Raw, unfortunately, has turned into, there's a few good segments and the rest of it's filler. It's the truth. And anybody who says otherwise clearly is just an e-drone, as the kids say these days. But yeah. But honestly, it's just, I don't know. I will always watch the show because I've been watching it since the 90s, and that's not going to stop. Am I a glutton for punishment? Sure. I still have hope. I will always have hope that it will turn around.
It did back in the 90s.
Well, I mean, I don't think we'll ever reach, Attitude Era-esque style numbers ever again. That's not going to happen. People are not watching on TV as often. Will we eventually get some type of potential war if AEW keeps growing? Maybe. Do we honestly need it? No. Why do you want choice? Just like, why would you want to fight to make people watch one show or the other? You keep them all separate, everybody wins. And then it's just a competition of who can have the better show of the week instead of who has the better show of the night. That's just my thoughts on it.
No. And I completely agree with that. And when I was comparing, I wasn't comparing so much the numbers as it was the bounce back that Raw had during the Monday Night War. How it went from like this crappy, childish product to, I'm going to watch this after Springer tonight kind of like attitude.
Right. Yeah.
Or you look at it, again, we don't need a war anymore. It's kind of like another 90s thing. The console wars. Right. You're either Sega, you're either Nintendo, you may be a loser and have, I don't know, an Atari Jaguar. No pun at you, Scott. It just came to mind. You might have had a TurboGrafx if you were rich, you might have had a Neo Geo. But in 2021, and there are some marks, I will say that some marks out there who are going to be like, I only play this and I'm better than anyone else, blah, blah. I own everything. Not to be like a snob, but I have my Xbox, I have my PlayStation, I have my Switch, and I have my PC. Do I play them often?
PC Master Race, right? Isn't that how it works?
Exactly. And remember, you got to have all the top of the line parts. But
that's true.
You know what? I own everything. And when I play everything, or when I get to play, I play it because I enjoy it. Hey, I want to play my Nintendo titles. Hey, I want to play some JRPG that's only on the PlayStation. Hey, I want to play Halo. Or, hey, I want to play StarCraft. You don't... The goal here is for all wrestling companies. Man, it's going to sound very corny. I want to be able to enjoy AEW as much as I enjoy watching WWE, as much as I enjoy watching New Japan, as much as I enjoy AAA, as much as I enjoy Ring of Honor, Impact, etc., etc. That's the goal.
Yep.
But my final statement, and I've said this to you, I think, several times this week, is if they do lose Adam Cole, who was handed $1 million contract, who turned down multiple contracts from this company, who was the driving force of NXT, I think that's a big L, and that's a problem. That's something that they need to be like, if we're gonna lose probably the biggest star we've had on the show, we really need to rework our strategy.
Yeah, definitely. He likes to say that he's a once in a lifetime talent. I don't see any lies here. The man moves the needle no matter where he is.
We were it's funny because we had that group chat going on with obviously Zach and the Riddler, and we were talking. I don't think Zach realized how big of an how he's like, oh, can you do the Bebe thing and everything and whatnot, and I was kind of like, yeah. I go, that was in, no offense to to Zach or whatnot, I'm like, that was his shtick before.
Oh yeah.
Before. I mean, I even sent the video. It's one of my favorite moments where he debuted. Gave the knee to fucking Drew McIntyre. And then he walks up the ramp, and the place is screaming Adam Cole, and they all come in sync. And he stops and he bends down, and the place goes silent. And then he pops up. The bill 20,000 people. That alone says a lot about the business in the industry.
Yep.
That somebody who was an indie wrestler and you still had 20,000 people scream Adam Cole baby on his debut.
Yep. That's star power. And WWE did or I should say NXT did a very good job of keeping him top guy the whole time. Did a great job. I will not say that his stint at NXT has been wasted. He did great for 4 years. I'd love to see 4 more. Honestly, he could. I don't know exactly how old he is. I think he might be still in his 20s.
No, he's 32. He's 2 years older than me.
Is he 32?
Yeah.
Shit. So he still has 10 years left if he wants to go for a full decade. He's got at least 5 more years at peak, So we'll see what's going to be next for this man, and I'm excited wherever he goes. I just selfishly want him to stay.
Well, hopefully, whatever he does, hopefully Adam Cole stays on top. That's what we want. But let's hop right into it. Fallout NXT from Takeover. Scott, let's just get right into it now.
We will. So, kicking off, I just wanted to have a nice little positive side because Cameron Grimes is your new $1 million champion. Comes out, has a nice little celebration with Ted DiBiase. It's a good time. Very, very happy. This was a great story arc and another great moment for these two guys. The funny thing of it was, a little later on in the show, it seems like this will be the end of us seeing Ted DiBiase on the show. Cameron, after winning the title, decides that as much as he loves being the $1 million champion, there's only one true $1 million champion, and he ends up giving the title back to Ted DiBiase while he's sitting in his limo. So they have a nice little small conversation, and Ted goes, "You know what? No, I think that you truly belong. You deserve this." So he gives the title back to Cameron Grimes, and Grimes holds on to the title for a moment. He notices he's like, this title feels weird. It feels different. And he turns it over. He goes, official WWE shop.com title replica. What? Oh my God. Ted DiBiase. DiBiase just does his laugh and they drive off in the limo. I'm like, that son bitch DiBiase got him one more time. I love that. I'm a little sad that we probably won't see Ted on NXT anymore, but I think that whole arc between him and LA Knight was well done. I thought it ended perfectly as it should have. And now Grimes is clearly one of the most over wrestlers in NXT, and now it's time for him to start going after big titles. So we'll see what happens after that. But our first match of the night, the returning Ridge Holland taking on and defeating Timothy Thatcher. in one hell of a brutal match. I love the fact that they're pushing Ridge. The man is built like a tank, and he doesn't need to talk. He's got Pete Dunne with him to talk. He's got Oney Lorcan. And lo and behold, after this matchup, Timothy Thatcher gets jumped by Oney Lorcan and a returning Danny Burch. Danny Burch out with injury, having to give up the tag titles, come in and attack Thatcher. We also got Ciampa to come out as well to try to help his partner, but he ends up getting taken out as well. So it looks like the baddest men in NXT have fully reunited, sans Pat McAfee, which, if you haven't heard, Pat McAfee unfortunately tested positive for COVID-19, so we wish him the best, all health and happiness, and come back stronger than ever, because God damn it, I need to see that man totally rip when Shinsuke Nakamura comes out with Rick Boogs. And Sam, I know you don't watch SmackDown, but find those segments. It's some of the greatest shit in the entire world.
I actually have been recording it. I just haven't watched it.
Sir, I'm so happy to hear that. But moving on, because we have to keep this quick. Women's tag action, Kacy Catanzaro and Kayden Carter taking on and defeating the new Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. I love seeing all four of these women wrestle. I've always been a fan of Kacy and Kayden for the longest time. Their videos that they put out on Instagram and TikTok is some of the funniest shit in the world. Gigi Dolan, for me, we've talked about this, is quickly becoming one of my favorite female superstars in NXT. And I don't know much about JC Jane yet, but obviously from what I've been seeing, I'm enjoying it. Best part about this, after Kacy and Kayden get the win, it further pushes them towards Io and oh my god, I forgot her name. Zoe for the titles. Afterwards, JC and Gigi are walking in the back, and they're stopped by Mandy Rose. So there's been some conversations between these three, Mandy looking clearly to manage these two women. And Mandy says, if you don't ever want to have this feeling again of loss, walk with me and we'll chat. So Gigi and JC kind of look at one another and decide, all right, we'll see what she has to say. So it looks like they're going to have themselves a manager. As much as I think Mandy's been doing excellent in the ring when she was on the main roster, I think her coming back to NXT in a managerial way of doing things, I think is actually probably maybe even better for her. So we'll see what happens going forward. We got the in-ring debut on NXT of Kaylee Ray, former NXT UK Women's Champion, took on and defeated Valentina. I think her last name is Furrows. If I butchered that, I apologize. It's essentially just, a warm-up match for Kaylee Ray. And once she starts getting going, I think she's going to quickly ascend and start challenging for that NXT Women's title. Now, I didn't get a chance to watch much of her stuff in NXT UK where I am. Where I left off, they were just announcing that she was coming. So that's how far back I am. But I eventually will continue to keep watching. After that, we had our NXT champion, Samoa Joe. First ever 3-time champ come out. And lo and behold, we have ourselves a whole bunch of people who want a shot at Joe, including Pete Dunne, LA Knight, and Kyle O'Reilly. Had a nice little 4-way brawl after that. So, obviously, I know we just had, TakeOver, but I would love to see who gets the next shot at Joe.
Especially going forward now, with the rebranding,
yes.
who you Joe's probably going to be, and these are my thoughts, and maybe you'll agree with me on this one. Maybe Joe will have the belt a bit kind of like Finn did, and then when they start like, I don't think it'll be Johnny. I don't think it'll be obviously Adam Cole or Kyle O'Reilly. Maybe Kyle O'Reilly. He hasn't held the title yet, but I can see it being somebody maybe further down the totem pole. Maybe it's Carmelo Hayes.
Could be, and that's a great segue because we go into our NXT Breakout Tournament final. It was Carmelo Hayes taking on Odyssey Jones, and this was a great match. This is literally the match of the future, and Carmelo Hayes is your breakout champion. And I'm not going to lie, I've been a fan of Carmelo Hayes since he was Christian Casanova in the Indies. I did not expect him to win. I honestly expected Odyssey Jones to find a way to just dominate him because of his size difference, and he can still move quickly. But Carmelo ends up getting the win. I was over the moon happy about this. So he now gets a contract to challenge any champion that he wants. So we'll see who he goes after next. Like you said, down that totem pole, this might be that moment to take on Joe, win the championship, and then lead this new NXT into the future. We'll talk about the. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say he has the potential, like Adam Cole, to be the face of that brand.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
So, moving on from that, we get into our last two matches of the night. We had Boa taking on, which I thought was going to be a squash match, in Zion Quinn. And when I first saw Zion Quinn, when the lights came back up after Boa was in the ring, I honestly, my brain went back and I thought, oh my God, is that Connor? Did Connor re-sign with the company? Because just quickly looking at the glance, like he had the same style of hair, the beard and everything else, it matched perfectly. So obviously I'm probably all alone in thinking in this, but I got a little excited for a moment thinking maybe the Ascension was back in NXT, but that's whatever. Zion getting the win over Boa, while may not be huge to some people, the way that Titan Shah has been, we haven't seen Xia Li since she lost to Raquel Gonzalez. And the way she reacted after Boa lost makes me feel like Boa's about to disappear and Mei Ying may be the last one standing. So maybe she'll start getting in the ring. Who knows? It's going to be interesting. And then our main event of the evening, a match I actually was really, really looking forward to. Legado del Fantasma taking on Hit Row. What a fantastic match. I got to say, who's stronger than Top Dollar? Nada. Honestly. Like, Jesus Christ. This man with all three men just carrying them all and then depositing them in different spots in the ring. Just beautiful work. There's nearly not much you could say about this. The great thing that I actually did not see coming is that I always was like, Hero's got that fourth person in BFAB, and it's like, I feel like Legado needs a female to show up. And lo and behold, at the end of this match, Elektra Lopez, who's been on the show a few times, comes up, attacks BFAB, causes a distraction, and Swerve gets himself rolled up by Escobar, and Legado wins the war. Or at least this battle. Maybe it's not over. Now we got 4 people on each side. I wonder what, NXT pay-per-view might be next, Sam.
It's the only way you can settle things between, I don't know, factions like this.
It's true.
You just need to enclose them and, release them one by one by one by one inside of this enclosed cage.
Now, Mr. William Regal likes to say it.
War games.
I don't know if that's anywhere near close, but I think that would be quite interesting.
That would be the biggest chance, I would think, with Undisputed Era gone. I really can't think of other. I mean, you'd have to have a third faction per how War Games has gone. I think,
True.
right?
Well, no, they've done 2v. It's always been 2 teams so far, but I'm thinking of the women being in there with the men aspect, unless both ladies come out last and only fight one another.
Whoa, Jose, this is no Impact here. We can't do stuff like that.
That's true. I know. That's one thing I really do enjoy about Impact when I used to watch it, when I could watch it, is that they do intergender wrestling like it's a normal wrestling match, which honestly I believe it should how it should be. But that's it. NXT, good show. I enjoyed it. Before we jump into Dynamite, there was an interesting commercial that appeared during SmackDown on Friday. NXT getting a complete rebranding. Now, this has been rumored for weeks. Nick Khan even said it himself on an interview that NXT was going to go through some radical changing, and they were going to focus more on in-house talent. This was going to turn back into a developmental brand. So it kind of makes me wonder what's going to happen to all the rest of these well-established indie wrestlers, especially the older ones like we talked about with Ciampa and Thatcher and Joe and Johnny, and what's going to happen with these older wrestlers, because there's been talks that they only want people below the age of 30 in NXT, and people who are cruiserweights or heavyweights, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't know where it's going. I don't know what's true, what's not. But this new logo that's come out, when I first watched it, the commercial for it, I instantly thought of the original NXT, all the swirling around and all the movements of stuff and the colors. And we've seemed to have completely abandoned the black and yellow. It's gone full color palette, and the logo, everything, the letters blend together. And it just looks like somebody literally threw different cans of paint at the wall. And that's how it looks. A lot of people were not very happy with it. I remember when I shared it with the group when I first saw it. None of y'all were happy about it either.
So there's something crazy about this. And I'm not that... You know me. I always think of the long game. I'm always willing to be open.
Right.
And I understand the NXT ratings were bad compared to Raw, which... Again, boggles my mind. In SmackDown, sure. But everyone knows Raw is the one that could use the revamp.
It's true. But Raw hitting over 2 million this past week, which hasn't happened in a long time. That was a bit of a surprise to see.
Yeah. I don't know. I get concerned. NXT is their best brand. I mean, it depends on who I'm talking to. Some people would even argue it's tied with SmackDown right now.
SmackDown's been very consistent as of late. Yeah, I mean, NXT has definitely been that I would call the flagship show, but recently I would probably, even myself, would say that SmackDown has taken that mantle away.
Yeah. So it's like Raw's the one that needs to work, even though they're getting the 2 million views. I hate to be negative, but I mean, people watch reality TV. Most of it's shit, but they watch it.
Yep.
The fuck do I know? I'm a 30-year-old metalhead watching professional wrestling on the weekly. Who am I to say who's in touch and who's not? That being said, let's talk about shows that are in touch. Speaking of ratings, CM Punk's debut on Dynamite brought in a 1.12 million. This week, their highest since their debut.
That's yeah,
rightfully so.
Yep, absolutely.
Decent card. I mean, it was a lot more of the. I feel like it was the lesser known talent this episode, but I thought it was still a decent episode. Kicking off with Orange Cassidy and Matt Hardy taking on each other. This was fun. Again, if you don't look at Orange Cassidy and take him seriously, if you look at him and go, he's just a comedy guy. The guy's just. He's proven that he can work with anybody. He can make his comedy work, and then he can pull out the big guns when necessary.
Yep.
And this match seemed between Matt Hardy trying to throw the money at him, between the delete and the pockets thing, just the fact that he just finished him off with his own gave him a twist of fate.
Yeah. He essentially channeled Jeff, and it was hilarious to watch.
Yeah, so I'm so glad to see Orange Cassidy still, where he belongs.
Yeah.
Um,
He's definitely upper middle card, which is where he should be.
Yeah, agreed. Following that, we had Chris Jericho addressing his AEW future. He wants one more match with MJF, where he's put his career on the line. But we could argue the verbiage.
It's true.
He'll
never wrestle in AEW again.
Yep.
Which means you could wrestle in other places, but we'll talk about that once that happens.
Yeah, you can go anywhere, and I think you and I have had this conversation before. His big thing is he will permanently move to the commentary table for AEW, which I think
that's a good move.
That'd be a great move for him. He's a great person on, color commentator. The guy, he belongs on a wrestling Rushmore.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. He's so good at what he does. He's still one of the best talkers on the microphone. He's pretty much prepping MJF to take, not that MJF needs any prep work whatsoever. I'm a social person, but I can't talk as well as MJF can.
There's not a lot of people on this planet that can talk like MJF can. It's just facts.
So I know a lot of people are upset, like, we're going to get another one. We're going to get another MJF Chris Jericho match. Look, it's 3-0. MJF is 3-0 against Jericho. Jericho is getting older. There's also the argument that, he's supposed to be touring with Fozzy. I'm not positive on that one.
That's I've heard that too, which would make sense in a way for him not to wrestle anymore. But he said he would be on commentary if he's touring. Then Fridays, I'm pretty sure he's going to be touring, unless they continue to do what they're going to start doing, and tape Rampage after Dynamite. So it'll give him his Fridays open to go tour.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And some people even are go back to WWE. I think Jericho. I think where he is in regards to the independence, it's not even the independent scene anymore. In regards to AEW, in regards to New Japan, in regards to AAA, in regards to Impact, I think he's in the right spot.
Agreed. But eventually he's going to end up going back to WWE, whether it's going to be just for, Hall of Fame, a match or two, maybe one more WrestleMania. We all know it's going to happen. He belongs in the WWE Hall of Fame, whether it's going to be an actual physical one, which they've been talking about for years, or the one in Vince's brain. Eventually it's going to happen.
Especially with him and Vince still being buddy.
Correct, yeah. And Vince even gave him the go-ahead. So people are like, oh, Jericho going for the rival company. And no, he talked to Vince. Vince is like, no, you got to do what's best for you. We don't have anything for you, really, a big storyline going into Mania season when he first signed with AEW. So they're like, all right, I'm signing for 3 years. And, right now you're the enemy. But, once that's up, we'll talk. He still has another year, if I remember correctly. So even if he doesn't wrestle anymore, he'll be on commentary for a year, which is fine. Gives his body a year to rest, which I'm sure he desperately needs.
Yeah. Yes. Following that, we had another tag team championship eliminated tournament. Varsity Blondes taking on the Lucha Brothers. This was the Varsity Blondes are knocking their way up the totem pole.
Absolutely, 100%.
They just look so good. Griff Garrison, got to give this kid credit. This kid was a nobody when he started, and he was during COVID. Now tag teaming with a Legend's son, and they just, I love the gimmick. I love just their wrestling style is just great. They have great chemistry together, and they fought probably arguably the best tag team in AEW and put on a banger.
Yep. Really enjoyed this match.
I did too, especially the Lucha Brothers winning.
Yeah.
Like, I think I said to you either privately on another episode, I think it's going to be Lucha Brothers and Jurassic Express. That's what happened.
Yep.
We'll discuss that in a minute when we get to Rampage. Following that, we had Red Velvet taking on Jamie Hayter in her return, her Dynamite debut since she's come back. Match wasn't bad. There was definitely a couple of botches. Red Velvet made a couple things that happened, and Jade Cargill actually came out to her defense.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was going to mention that. No, I mean, it's wrestling. Shit's going to happen. Was it a terrible botch? Honestly, no, I don't remember it, to be honest with you. So obviously it didn't affect me too long. Red Velvet can go. So it was really nice to see Jade step up and be like, nah, like, shit happens. Relax.
Yeah, especially, and this is why we try not to talk about the negative things. You know, there's Botchamania, that channel that just covers all the botches, and yeah, it happens. Sometimes they're just like, "What are you guys fucking doing?" But Red Velvet can go. Yeah, she made a mistake. Whatever. This was definitely more for Jamie Hayter's debut back on Dynamite.
Yep.
Or faux Becky Lynch. Sorry, and that's not a dig at Jamie, but that moment will live in my memory as the oh shit, Becky Lynch is on AEW moment.
Yeah, we both did it at the same time, and then we started talking about it after that, and we're just like, "Holy shit!" I thought it was Becky. You're like, "Oh my god, me too!" And just, yeah, it was. That would have been like the coup of like, yeah, man.
Yeah. So let's talk about CM Punk making his Dynamite debut, his debut on the main show. This guy showed no less star power than he did when he showed up in Chicago. Granted, Chicago was a lot louder due to it being his hometown, but this crowd, I said it, and I've said it to everybody who I've been talking to. CM Punk signing with AEW was the final piece in the foundation to show that this company is staying around.
Yeah.
As long as he and management are okay with each other, because that's his thing. He's not a corporate guy at all. He's not. He's a man of the people, which, again, he retired that statement, the voice of the voiceless, because obviously AEW has become the voice of the voiceless. And boy, there is the voiceless are no more.
Yeah, they are definitely voiceful.
Yeah. So we came out talking to Darby. I love how there's so much. And Andrew in our group chat made a good point, and I might have said this a long time ago that, you know, I don't see his star power worth, but also I wasn't watching him at his prime. I got out of wrestling just when he signed with the company. And when the guy was like, I don't want to come back, it's like, yeah, who fucking cares? You know, if he doesn't want to come back, he doesn't want to come back. I don't fucking care. You know, because that's his, you know, that's how somebody just want to come back and do something. If you and I stop podcasting and then we had everyone telling us we need to go back and podcast, if you and I don't want to do it, you and I are not going to do it.
Right.
We might come back once for the fan service. But if we don't want to do something again, we don't have to.
Right.
But now seeing what happened last Friday, this man is a driving force.
Absolutely.
In the industry. This man is going to get AEW is going to have their eye. Like so many people are going to now turn to AEW and be like, oh, they signed CM Punk. Okay, this is serious. So he's talking to Tony Schiavone, which, again, a lot of firsts here. You know, I think Tony Schiavone, I still think he, you know, the voice of WCW.
Oh yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Which, you know, involved with a promo with Darby Allin and Sting, WCW. Darby Allin, AEW, CM Punk, you know, Ring of Honor. It just there's a lot of weird. It's honestly like the multiverse melding together.
Right? Yeah. That's true.
And it's just a lot of fun. He's talking about all the talent back there, and he just great promo. But we gotta point out the most important part of this promo, where I forgot what he said. And the crowd just started going, yes, doing the yes chant. Yes, yes. In the building, and he's quiet. And then he goes, that is somebody else's shtick. And you just have to be a little more patient. Which, if you need any other confirmation that Bryan Danielson is coming to AEW.
The shit-eating grin he had on his face after he said that, and I don't know if he realized he might have made a mistake saying that, but it's Punk. He says what he wants to say no matter what. And obviously AEW has some of the worst secrets in wrestling. So,
but the thing is, and this is the thing. So CM Punk, we're not going to believe it till we see it type because, back and forth. I'm going to come back. I'm not going to come back. I don't want to wrestle again. CM Punk's coming back. Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. Whatever. That was like, and again, I wasn't watching at the time, but that could have been like, I could only imagine what it was like when it was like, oh, yo, Bret Hart's coming back. Everyone was probably like, wait a minute, hold up. Bret Hart. Montreal Screwjob, Bret Hart.
Yep.
Owen Hart's older brother, Bret Hart. Like these are the things that come to mind where you're like, I just don't see it happening ever, ever, ever again.
In Montreal.
In Montreal. Fuck, it was like when I was in high school and they did the Live 8 performance for, I think it was Climate Change or whatnot, and the four members of Pink Floyd joined, and I lost my fucking mind because I'm a big Pink Floyd fan. Nice. It's like that. If you don't see it until you believe it, it's like, okay, yeah, whatever, but it happened.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they teased it, but they didn't. Not like WWE again. WWE's like, yo, we signed these people. Awesome. Why couldn't you just wait for the surprise? Why couldn't you surprise us? So that's why, like, Daniel Bryan, they're doing the yes. He didn't say they signed him. He just said you're going to have to be a bit more patient.
Right. Which is basically the unofficial, official way to say he's with the company.
That was like, again, even with the Darby promos, in Chicago, I want to see the best in the world.
Right.
Like, it's like.
You're calling him out without calling him out,
Yeah. So is it the worst kept secret? Yes, but it's also like one of those. We're not going to admit it.
Right.
We won't admit it until it happens. So that's like. It's like the Adam Cole thing. We don't know where he's going. There's no information. It's like Bray Wyatt. There are rumors Bray Wyatt or whatever he's going by now. Impact and AEW are eyeballing him.
I believe he's going by just Wyndham now, which actually I really like. I mean, it's just it fits well. Like he's come out with he started tweeting a little bit. And his new mask, I think, looks absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, where he shows up next. And it's interesting that you mentioned, AEW, because I don't know if you've noticed, but the Dark Order is starting to have some issues.
Yeah, they are. I saw Alex Reynolds, he was getting, worked up.
Little hot under the collar.
And then somebody pointed at Evil Uno saying it was his fault or something like that. It just, it's interesting. So
sounds like they need someone to rile them up and, put them back on the right path. And
for a long time I couldn't figure out how they would be able to bring somebody else in as the leader. And if they do this and then bring in Wyndham,
it would instantly tie them back to Brody. And I think, honestly, that would be the best way to be able to pay homage to Brody by having someone who was so close to him. If you remember with Bray's last appearance at WrestleMania, he did all the Brody stuff in the beginning of the match and even during the match with Randy. It's just, we know how close those two were. It's just, I think this would be the perfect way to bring him in and to establish him as the new leader. And this could be another way to turn the Dark Order heel again and actually be a good way to do it.
Yeah. No, it would be, yeah. Long game. I'm all about it.
Yeah. Yep.
So following that, we had Darby Allin, John Moxley, and Eddie Kingston taking on the Wingmen. I thought this was good. I love seeing, again, Cesar Bononi and Ryan Nemeth coming out. I always enjoy them when they're in the ring. Allin, Moxley, Kingston get the win there. Then we got our head-to-head with Christian Cage and Kenny Omega, which was a lot of just these two. Again, I will say it again. Christian in the limelight is making me more of a fan than Christian over back in WWE. He just like he belongs where he is.
Yeah.
Especially, with Frankie Kazarian in his corner, the elite killer.
Yep. It works. They work really well together. I like them. I like them a lot together.
Agreed. Following that, we had the Gun Club taking on the Factory, which is this was cool. This was fun. I like seeing Billy Gunn in action. Good to see. I can't believe how big that guy is. Like he's not a small guy.
Right.
Obviously the Gun Club getting the win over the Factory. Paul White getting involved at one point because QT was being a bitch. But I can't. I know some people like, why are you looking forward to this match? I'm like, I've always liked QT. But also Paul White, which it has been said that we might potentially get a WrestleMania match that never happened. And I'm not talking about Flair versus Hogan. We might be getting, rumor has it, there's an actual chance for Shaq taking on Paul White to happen in AEW.
It's definitely possible. I know that they've talked about this forever when Paul White was still with WWE and Shaq already having a match in AEW. I think that this would be a fun match between these two.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it would happen, don't know. But I think it'd be maybe double or nothing.
Maybe double or nothing. Yeah, give it some time. Give it some build up. Yeah. You know what did happen though? Main event, Malachi Black taking on Brock Anderson. I do like Brock. I like him. I think he's a solid worker. Looks a lot like his father.
Oh my God, yes.
Brock Anderson attacking him before the match, before the bell even rang, because Malachi Black pretty much said, I want your son to walk out, get counted out, and lose, because what I'm going to do is you're not going to like it. And right. Boy, this man, he's not even the biggest guy on the roster. And the fact that he just
he feels like it though.
He does, between the black mass, between his, what is he trained in? I know he's not Taekwondo. He's something where.
Is it jiu-jitsu?
It could be something like that, where he brings that kind of fighting style in hard. It's almost like that British strong style, but it's not. He just has that strong. Just some of the way he executes some of his moves, it's
crazy.
It's crazy, and then he just looks. Because there was that first moment I thought Brock was going to kick out because he just stood over him for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then he just wrapped him up. 1, 2, 3. I'm like. And then he I think he hit Anderson, if I'm not mistaken. Arn.
Yep.
Yeah. Him versus Arn. Who is he wrestling at fucking All Out?
Nobody.
He don't have a match yet.
No.
How does he not have a match yet?
Because he doesn't have anybody to fight. He's been knocking out everybody.
He's got to be involved in something at All Out.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me in the least. But yeah, as of right now, I don't believe he has a match. I am checking, and no, he does not. Which honestly, I'm okay with. But like you said, he'll find a way to get involved. He's not gonna miss, pretty much their version of SummerSlam. He'll show up. He'll do something. He'll attack somebody. Don't know who it's gonna be. Maybe it'll be Moxley.
Well,
that would be interesting.
We haven't even seen what he's gonna do, and I'm looking forward to it.
Right.
So. With that being said, Impact Thursday, another fun show. Chris Sabin taking on Sami Callihan to kick off the night. Where at the end, there was a point where Eddie Edwards came out, got attacked by W. Morrissey, and then Callihan saved him. So Eddie's there was an interview afterwards. Eddie's that Sami comes up to him and he goes. Eddie's just because, you know, I saved you doesn't mean we're friends or something like that. And Sammy's like, you know, I owe you one, you know, you saved me once, I saved you once. So I don't think this is a feud coming. I think there's some
like mutual respect growing between the two of them, which
yeah, one of those groups where they hate each other, but we might see a bar kind of situation happen.
oh Christ, that would be wow. That would
I
be
like to use
something.
that one as the unexpected, like, yeah. So following that, we had Deonna Purrazzo come out, interrupt Mickie James, getting ready for Empower. Pretty much where Mickie pretty much looked at Deonna when Drama King Matt came out and was like, "Yeah, I didn't see you defeat Melina at Endurance Resurgence. Fuck, I can't keep track of him anymore." She was, "I saw him defeat Melina, and he won't be allowed at Empower." So then they attacked Mickie James. You know. Oh, Trey Miguel came out too. I wish I had time tonight to watch Empower. I'm really curious what's going to happen. Following that, we had David Finley taking on Chris Bay, with Chris Bay getting the win over Finley. These two are great to watch. I can't wait for Chris Bay to make his way over to New Japan at some point, because you know what's going to happen because he's part of the Bullet Club.
Yep.
Following that, we had Christian Cage come out. You know, Christian Cage came out. Tommy Dreamer came out, because now you got to remember, Ace Austin won the number one contender spot.
Yep.
So he came out and was talking shit, blah, 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 blah. Tommy Dreamer just before that was like, I don't care where, I don't care how. He goes, I want to wrestle you once, whether it's for the title or not.
Nice.
Somewhat. So it was like a brotherly moment. It's like Tommy Dreamer, Christian Cage for that. Oh, man, Tommy Dreamer, just good guy Tommy. Like, he's been like that since he started in ECW, and he's still that guy. Oh, can't hate the man. But, you know, well, there was something else that was said that was just fire that he attacked Ace Austin on. It was great. Looking for, oh man, I can't wait for Christian Cage to lay him out. Unless Ace Austin wins and does become the youngest champion.
I mean, honestly, that would fit. Christian's technically not an Impact wrestler. Ace would be a good person to strap the belt on and put that rocket on his back. I mean, he's already been really good, so having him win the title, I think would be a good first step for him.
Yeah, agreed. Following that, actually, there was a little moment there where they were interviewing our girl Brandy Lauren about last week's loss.
Nice.
And all of a sudden, as she's leaving, it gets really dark.
Oh no.
And she walks, you know, the camera's following her. She walks through a door. And who's standing there but Su Yung and Kimberly? And they drag her off.
Oh no.
So whether she's a sacrifice or whether she's joining whatever's going on with Su Yung.
I hope she joins. I think that would be really awesome.
Yeah. It's another talent that I would like to see more of. She's great mic worker, great in-ring talent. But, you know, around that same time, we had Taylor Wilde taking on The Influence, which is Tennille Dashwood, Madison Rayne, and Caleb with a K. You would talk about intergender matches. Here was one where it was like a 3-on-1 where Taylor Wilde obviously lost, but Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering came out afterwards. In the main event, Rich Swann and Willie Mack taking on the Good Brothers, with surprisingly Swann and Mack getting the W over the champions.
Nice.
This was a great match. Impact does not disappoint right now. And with more signings on the way, and hopefully with them pushing Bound for Glory in Las Vegas, and hopefully tapings, because you know Vegas is going to allow crowds.
Right.
So if we can get back to, because I do like the smaller feel with Impact right now, but I'm starting to be like, I want it, because in between they always show like old footage of old Impact matches and, you know, whatnot. And they have the crowds and they have the ridiculous like stage, whatnot, that almost looks like WCW at times. I'm just like, dude, they need to go back on like some kind of torn regimen or tape like they're in a stadium.
Yeah, the old Impact Zone used to be pretty hopping, pretty big. So yeah, I'd agree. I'd like to see Impact starting to climb that again and get more fans to get in there. I also noticed something while you were talking about that, but I obviously I don't have the option to watch Impact at this moment. But I'm reading here that looks like we have some issues with Violent by Design.
Oh yeah, because Rhino cost them the match at Resurgence. I hope I'm not mixing them up. What was the NWA one that came by? Is it Resurgence? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, this
But,
Impact's was Emergence with an E.
Yeah, I
know they're so they're so close.
So what we're no, Eric Young did this promo, about on Rhino and being like, "You are the reason we lost," and blah 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 blah, and the only you must suffer the consequences now, and the only consequences that you will receive is violence and whatnot. So I got to go back and watch that promo, but it was a good promo, and I'm totally forgot exactly what's going to happen. But I don't think they have issues. I just think it's one of these things where it's like, if you fuck up, you will be met with violence. By design.
Cleanse him through violence.
Fascinating concept. Disturbing concept.
It is.
But Impact, great as always. Down for Glory is coming up. Let's double check. We want to, because as we know, with SummerSlam gone, the fall pay-per-views are coming up.
That's true, sir.
We have All Out. We have NWA 73. Bound for Glory. I do not want the 1976 movie, but with Woody Guthrie. Bound for Glory. Let's quickly take a look. What's the date on this one? October 23rd. Is that a Sunday?
That's no, I believe that's a Saturday.
That's not one of the Saturday Night Dynamite episodes, is it?
If it's the 23rd, then yes, it is.
We'll have to double check to see when that Dynamite is. We might have some complications there. But AEW stars, AAA stars, New Japan stars, all advertised to be part of this, which I'm curious.
Right.
So, last but not least, let me tell you, I've turned my Friday nights from a going out night to a staying in night watching Rampage. And again, I will argue we do not need 2 hours. We will never need to switch to 2 hours. I like the 1 hour. The 1 hour is just enough wrestling where I'm like, oh, that was awesome, but I also wanted me to have more and not feel like, overexposed.
Right.
So, first and foremost, we kick off with the finals for the tag titles. Jurassic Express taking on Lucha Brothers. And no short of a great match between these two as expected. But the Lucha Brothers are the number one contenders who will wrestle the Bucks in the steel cage at All Out. I almost feel like I don't even know how many times these tag teams have wrestled. And I don't even know what the record is between the two of them. I would need to find that data. But with that being said, as long as that cage stays closed, and if there's no interference, I have a feeling the Lucha Brothers might actually win these titles.
It's definitely possible.
Because how long have the Bucks been champions?
Huh?
How long have the Bucks been champions? This is why we have Google, my friend.
Was it Double or Nothing? It's been a long time.
Been a while since Full Gear.
Oh my God, that's wow. Okay.
Yeah, we've only had 4 tag team champions: SoCal, Kenny Omega, Adam Page, FTR, and the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks have the longest reign right now, 290 plus days.
That makes sense.
And I feel like they have a chance to win the belts.
Part of me still feels that Andrade is going to get involved and cost them the title in some fashion.
Yeah, no, I could see that. We're going to talk about that on our post show. I'm just like, both of these teams who wrestled obviously deserve the titles.
Agreed. 100%.
Especially the Lucha Brothers. I would put Lucha Brothers above anyone right now because they've been there since day one.
Yep. Definitely the most consistent.
Solid match. Following that, we had the Bunny taking on Ty Conti. This was, again, I love watching Ty in the ring. She's great. Allie's not so bad herself, but I love the way this match ended.
Yes.
Where Penelope Ford came out and distracted, and booyah. We have an alliance with Allie and the Bunny. Not Allie, the Bunny, and Penelope Ford. Following that, and I totally must have missed this, but I totally didn't realize we were having a tag team match between Christian Cage, Frankie Kazarian, taking on Kenny Omega and Brandon Cutler. This was good. This I thought was really good. Weird to throw Brandon Cutler in there, but at the same time, I get it with the gimmick.
Right.
We need somebody to kind of take most of the hits and let the champion look, dominant when necessary.
Yep.
Again, Christian and Frankie, if that man doesn't hold a title at least once in this company, that's not the tag titles, I will be a little disappointed because he just gets better every single time I see him.
Yeah, I can definitely see him as TNT champion at some point. Maybe even surprise us and become AEW champion. Don't know. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. He deserves to have a singles title before he retires.
It was good. It's, I thought this was a good match. I like the way it ended. Talking about, I want to pull a Quentin Tarantino and jump back to your what we talked about earlier. You want to talk about people I would love to see one-on-one have a promo? Don Callis and Paul Heyman.
Oh dear Lord. I don't know who'd win. I think we talked about this during our 100th episode when we did our Kenny Omega versus Roman Reigns, who's better champion. Imagine Callis and Heyman going toe to toe, talking about the accolades of each wrestler. Like I could watch them go back and forth all day, and I'd never be bored. I wouldn't even get up. I wouldn't even use the bathroom. I would literally hold it to watch them talk for 24 hours.
Yeah, no, they both, and it's funny because I said I've always been a fan of Paul Heyman. I've always loved Paul. I loved him when he was, with the Ruthless Aggression era. I mean, that's when I got to know who Paul Heyman was, and especially when he was the GM of SmackDown and Eric Bischoff was the GM of Raw. And you want to talk about when you really think about that, where the guy who won the war took the next two figureheads from those other two companies and still put them head to head with each other.
Yep.
Very sadistic.
Yes.
But it was incredible I've always loved Paul. He's always been one of my favorite talkers, always been one of my favorite managers. I said a long time ago he belongs up there with Bobby Heenan, with, Mr. Fuji.
Yep.
But that being said, Don Callis in the past couple of years has made a name for himself.
Oh, absolutely.
There as well. He is, and yes, he's made his touch with he was in WCW at one point. He was in ECW. I don't know if he might have been in WWE like when the buyout happened. I don't know. But he might be one of the best talents that WWE's never had their hands on in terms of management and mic work.
Correct.
The fact that piece of shit is becoming a chant every time he comes out. No, what was it? Carney piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Christian's a genius. I don't want Don to go away. Don's another one I need to always have on my camera.
Right.
Well, this has been pretty exciting, Scott. And yes, we have All Out coming out next week. But we also have a couple people whose contracts are just kind of like expired or they're not doing anything. And I think in the next month, if not next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about CM Punk's being joined by some people.
Yep.
Whether it be one, whether it be two, whether it be three. That was four. My thumb should have been like, there we go. I can't wait. Scott, looking forward to it. Next week, guys, go home show for All Out. Again, I think one of the best build-up for an AEW pay-per-view there has been. Don't forget, Make sure you check out the Raw Review SmackDown study as well as last week's post show for SummerSlam and NXT. If you don't already do so, please follow us on Twitter at Above the Ring. You can find myself as the SB Official and Scott as Scotty J Stream. We are on all streaming platforms, including Captivate. If there's one we are not on, please let us know. We will put ourselves on there. On your streaming platform, please make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave review. Tell people why Above the Ring and Ship It Studios is the podcast if you're choosing why they should listen to us as well. Thank you for listening. Next week, All Out pre-show. Do not forget to ship it. And as always, do not forget to join the Bedlam.